As many of you may know by now, at 1:25 this morning, an explosion ripped through the joy of the nightly celebration taking place in Centennial Olympic Park. Thousands of people were there.
Pandemonium, people running, people on the ground, people hurt.
I called up Channel 13 to find out if they had it over their wire so we could call up Red Cross to find out if we could locate my brother.
A lot of events that were making this a really special, fun Olympics are gone now.
July 27, 1996. The joy of the Summer Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia shattered in a flash. A pipe bomb exploded at 1:25 in the morning. It was early Saturday, and the Olympic Village was still packed with people at the late hour.
And nobody's bothering you, right?
Olympian Janet Evans was giving an interview at the time as the bomb went off behind her. One woman was killed, more than 100 others were hurt. NewsChannel 13 had sent Chris Kapostasy to Atlanta to report on the excitement of the games. Now she was in the streets documenting the horror.
Pandemonium, people running, people on the ground, people hurt. It was a bad scene.
In the immediate aftermath of the bomb that struck Centennial Park overnight, witnesses' stories were chillingly similar.
I was sitting there, I got pushed out of the way by police for squad cars can go down and stuff. I mean, it was just panicky and everything.
You hear girls screaming, you hear people ducking down, and it looks like people fall. And
my clothes shook, gunpowder, smell like gunpowder.
Carlos Kramer is from Troy. He was working right across from the bomb site.
There was a lot of confusion. It was, it really wasn't expecting anything like that. Everything just locked down really bad.
Another New Yorker, a cameraman, was also working when the blast hit.
We were warned before it happened that we had a camera on the mixing tower. They said, "There's a bomb threat, get out." They were on the mixing tower within 50 feet of the bomb.
And how quickly after you got that warning did you hear the explosion?
1 minute.
So you really didn't have time to clear her out?
No time at all.
The immediate scene was chaotic. You can see all the emergency vehicles behind me. They have moved people away from the scene, and helicopters have been circling overhead. In all the chaos, families got separated. These women got into an angry confrontation with police. They wanted to get to their car to drive to the hospital to see an injured relative.
She's by herself! Make no difference! It does make a difference! I'm trying to tell you where she at! How I know that? Hey, ma'am, keep moving, okay? Tell me it don't make no damn difference, ma'am!
Another woman couldn't find her 8- and 13-year-old grandchildren.
Grandmother of the two girls that were, they got lost.
Do they know where they are?
Yes, they found them.
That must have been horrifying.
Oh, it was.
Inside the park, medical personnel were on the scene very quickly, including an EMT from New York.
I treated some extremity abrasions, some protrusions to the lower back area. I treated 6 victims, and I saw 2 head injuries and a pelvic injury as well.
Most of the injuries were from flying metal. John Alexander was no more than 30 feet from the blast.
As soon as I looked up and there was a man sitting in front of me who actually wasn't sitting, he was laying on the ground in front of me. All his bags were on top of the bench. He was laying down behind the bench. And I grabbed him and I said, "Are you all right?" And he rolled over and he was bleeding. His right arm was completely covered in blood.
But you didn't have to be bleeding to be in pain. One woman sat shaking against a fence, unable to get home.
I was terrified. I just want to go home.
Despite fatalities and hundreds of injuries, the IOC decided almost immediately that the Olympics will go on as scheduled today. Chris Kapostasy, NewsChannel 13, Atlanta.
As those games continued, people in Atlanta tried to keep their spirits high, but the bombing understandably had people on edge. Once again, here's Chris Kapostasy.
Atlanta police evacuated hundreds of people from an underground shopping mall today before blowing up a suspicious package. It turned out to be a clothes iron. And in Savannah at the yachting venue, security was tighter at check-in points. Centennial Park was empty today and will stay that way at least for tonight.
Peanuts! Get your peanuts here!
Just outside Centennial, vendors were doing their best to create a carnival atmosphere. But too much had changed in the last 24 hours.
We heard an explosion and all that stuff fell at our heels as we were leaving the park. We were running, and the officer said, "Get out of here, get out of here."
The early morning bomb closed Centennial Park and virtually wiped out nearby tourist businesses. Every other night this week, this place has been packed, wall-to-wall people. You could hardly walk, let alone find a chair.
Today we've really been hurt a lot.
Just off of the sales commissions alone for today, we were hoping to make over $1,000, and we were cut completely short.
How much do you think you'll end up with?
Maybe $100, $200.
But the venues continue to be filled with security visibly heightened.
You can't really control the public access areas completely. There's got to have some ability to roam around there, and there's nothing you can do 100% of the time.
I just think that the security is even stronger now, and I think it was just a freak thing. And no, I'm not afraid, and I'm not going to let it ruin my good time.
Despite being 1,000 miles away, the tragedy hit very close to home for some Capital Region families. A woman with a brother doing security at the games called NewsChannel 13 concerned for his safety. We were able to put her in touch with investigators who quickly calmed her fears.
I talked to a detective down there, and they told me that they were going to, see if they can locate him and make sure that he was all right. And within 5 minutes, they called me back and told me that he was not even around the area at the time and that he is all right.
This Capital Region doctor was the team physician for the women's field hockey team and was in the area of the blast a half hour before it happened. He was also fine. However, a Catskill woman was so close to the bombing that a piece of shrapnel hit her and caused a serious burn. Kumi Tucker reports.
People were running around, they were screaming, people just dropped to the floor instantly and didn't move at all.
Eva Joyce was injured in the hip, a piece of shrapnel ripping through her jeans and causing a serious burn. She had a first-hand view of the chaos and panic the world saw on television. The early morning explosion claimed one life, injuring hundreds of others.
I was like a bomb, I really didn't think that it could happen to me, because most people, you don't think that, you're going to be there when a bomb goes off,
She spent 6 hours in a hospital. Eva Joyce's parents got word of her injury and were on a flight to Atlanta the next day, determined to be with their daughter during her recovery.
It was a big relief, that she was all in one piece. That was our major concern, that she was safe.
The big question now was, who did it? Police quickly zeroed in on Richard Jewell, an Olympic security guard who had initially been praised for saving lives. The FBI spent 88 days investigating him, searched his home and a cabin where he once lived. However, he was cleared that October with an apology from the United States Attorney. He later went into a career in law enforcement. In 1998, police had a new lead, a serial bomber named Eric Rudolph. After 5 years on the run, he was caught in 2003 digging through a trash bin outside a rural North Carolina grocery store. In 2005, he pleaded guilty to the bombing and 3 others. He's currently serving multiple life sentences without parole. To see how NewsChannel 13 first covered other stories now etched in history, head to our NewsChannel 13 YouTube page and click on News Vault 13. For now, opening News Vault 13, I'm Rachel Teedy.